So KSI is back on the 31st of August in Ireland. And that'll be Misfits' second anniversary. When I seen KSI's video announcing he was back fighting, I was happy. Because I've said it before, KSI is Misfits boxing. And it isn't quite the same when he's not fighting. And that's not taking anything away from Misfits boxing, but we just need KSI. We need the big fights, the likes of him, Jake Paul, Logan Paul. We need the big names. And don't get me wrong, I love what Misfits is doing. They're putting on great, entertaining fights. But at this point in time, they're growing their fighters. They're growing the big names. The next generation of stars in Misfits. In KSI's video, he teases the audience on who he's going to be fighting. And the first person he mentions is Amir Khan. I can't lie, when I heard the rumours that Amir Khan was going to be fighting KSI, I was kind of shocked, but not at the same time. Because Amir Khan is one of them fighters, a great fighter that quite simply can't let go of boxing. Because he's achieved everything in boxing. He was a great amateur boxer, Olympic silver medalist, a great professional boxer, world champion. He's been in some great fights and he's really been value for money because he's always in exciting fights. Because he had that vulnerability where he could be hurt at any time, but he also had lightning fast hands and could give anyone in his weight class trouble. And at the end of the day, who am I or anyone else to tell a fighter to stop fighting? If they still love the sport and want to continue, so be it. It's just a shame when someone like Amir Khan, who's achieved so much in the career, are fighting people that are essentially way beneath them. They just don't need to be fighting anymore. And if he was to lose, could essentially tarnish his career. We've seen it time and time again with great fighters. The likes of Roy Jones, Evander Holyfield, Muhammad Ali. When they get beat off lesser fighters, it's just sad. Very few fighters get out at the right time while they're on top. And that's why I respect Lennox Lewis. Because he left the game when he was on top with all his faculties still in place. And I understand some fighters, it's all they know. And it's the only way they can make money. And sometimes they come into hard times and they've got to continue to fight. But the likes of Amir Khan, financially, he's secure. There's no need. KSI says he really did try to make the Amir Khan fight happen. And he says that Amir Khan may have fast hands in the ring, but he's not fast when it comes to accepting offers. But he did say that fight is likely to be at the end of the year. And despite my opinion, I'll definitely be tuning in to watch. I do think it would be a huge fight. Because obviously KSI's got a huge fan base and so has Amir Khan, so I think it would draw huge numbers. When it comes to boxing skill and experience, you would have to go with Amir Khan. But he has been in a lot of tough fights and he's been knocked out quite a few times. And I'm not sure if his chin would stand up to one of KSI's punches because he can't really bang. So that is the worry. If he can stay away from that big punch, yes, he can win. But if you can't, I think KSI takes him out. And you've also got to look at the size difference. KSI is naturally much bigger. He's just got more things in his favour. Size, strength, power, less miles on the clock. There's just too many things just not in Amir Khan's favour. Jake Paul is also mentioned in the shots fired. He talks about his fight with Mike Tyson and how it's been pushed back because of Mike Tyson's ill health and how Mike Tyson will be even older by the time they fight. Which I don't blame him because it's a fight I don't really understand myself. I don't know Jake Paul's reason other than financial gain. Because he says he wants to become a world champion, so fighting an old man, Mike Tyson, just doesn't make sense. KSI gives Jake Paul a final offer to fight. He says May 2025. And he says at £185. And he says that's his final offer because Jake Paul has changed the goalposts too many times. I did see somewhere on Twitter, someone from Jake Paul's team say that he wasn't available next year in May, but he was available in February. But I did see a reply from Mams Taylor saying, okay then, let's go in February. So hopefully that fight happens. It's a must for Misfits fans because we've all been crying out for that fight. So who is KSI fighting? Well, he's fighting Slim and Anthony Taylor in a tag team match. Wow. I certainly wasn't expecting that. When I first heard the name Slim, I was really happy because Slim is one of my favourite Misfits fighters. And then when I heard tag team match, and then I heard Anthony Taylor, I can't lie, disappointment crept in because Anthony Taylor, no disrespect, but he's a horrible fighter to watch. I would have been much happier just KSI versus Slim. It just makes more sense. I just don't understand why KSI is having a tag team match. It makes no sense at all. It's almost like KSI thinks he's so above both guys that he needs to fight both of them for it to be a challenge. Almost like a sparring session where you bring multiple guys in to really give you the work so that each guy is fresh to really challenge you. That's the way he's treating it. Like this is just preparation for bigger fights. I don't even know the rules of tag team matches. I just think it's strange that KSI is taking this route. I just hope that Slim starts first and doesn't tag Anthony Taylor in because I'm just not interested in him in this equation. Slim puts out on Twitter, the truth is KSI doesn't want to fight him in a fair 1 versus 1 because he doesn't want to risk the mega fight with Jake Paul. And I can see where he's coming from because if KSI was to lose, it wouldn't look as bad losing to 2 people versus if he just fought Slim. A fight between KSI and Slim is a great fight and I'm sure the fans will be really excited about it. Anthony Taylor is just not needed in this equation. It's like a third wheel on a date. It's just awkward. And I'm sure there's plenty of other fights out there for him, but just not in this one. So who wins in this 2 versus 1? I think this could be a risky fight for KSI. Because yes, he's the naturally bigger man, and I think he's also the bigger puncher. And I think he's probably the better boxer out of the 3 of them. But I still think it's risky because if Slim and Anthony Taylor can work well together and come up with a good game plan, it could be a really hard night for KSI. For example, if Anthony Taylor does what he normally does and rushes KSI, smothers him, holds, turns into a dirty fight, that'll be hard work for KSI. And then if he tags Slim in with his unorthodox boxing style, it'll be quite hard for KSI to adjust. Because when you just get used to one style, then they tag another guy in and you've got a completely different style, it's really difficult. Especially if Anthony Taylor does a good job tiring KSI out. Because when you look at Slim and Anthony Taylor, they're completely different. They've got no similarities, so it'll be really difficult switching from one style to the next. Like I said earlier, I don't know the tag team rules, but if I was Slim and Anthony Taylor, I would be switching as much as possible so we were fresh and could really make KSI work. What I will say, I've had this with sparring when there's been multiple people and we've all just been mixing in. Sometimes you jump in for a few rounds, then you jump out. And sometimes when you jump back in, you've got to warm up again and find your rhythm again. So that can be a disadvantage. So KSI could take advantage of that. I would definitely lean towards KSI winning. The main thing is I'm just happy to see KSI back. It's not the fight I wanted to see and definitely not the setup, but nonetheless he's back. Either way, it's going to be an exciting and definitely interesting fight. But I do hope eventually we'll get the KSI versus Jake Paul. Let me know what you think of this matchup. Please like and subscribe and go watch this video next.